Let me make some of the case here for what I've called the fourth position, that we should just cast aside religion and start over. That whatever we reconstruct of the human experience, we're probably better off doing it over rather than trying to take anything from religion.
Okay.
And if I were to sort of start explaining that viewpoint, I would start with the concept of what I call dark side epistemology. And the concept there is that lies require other lies. If you lie about what you were doing at work yesterday, you might have to lie about whether or not the boss was there. You lie to your wife about what you were doing at work yesterday, then you have to lie about whether or not the boss is there in case she thinks to ask the boss. Then you have to lie about what your boss was doing. Or similarly, I hate to bring up the tired old debate again, but creationism versus evolutionary biology. First you lie about where animals come from, then you have to lie about how well designed animals are, and then you have to start lying about what constitutes evidence. So now we've taken the shift from lying about particular facts, and of course you just have to tell more and more lies because all these facts are entangled. But, sorry, I just heard a little strange tone. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Okay. So
the miracles of cell phones.
The wonderful miracles of cell phones, yeah. So you have to lie about all these facts, but now you also have to lie about the rules of evidence. And once you have to lie about the rules of evidence, you also have to lie about the considerations that you bring in to decide whether or not something is a good rule of evidence. You have to lie about what thinking is for. You have to say, well, the point is to generate warm, fuzzy feelings of faith and not to find the true story, the map that reflects the territory. Back in the old days, before religion went on its defensive against science, these people really believed that their cosmology was correct. They were advocating their cosmology as something that, as the map that reflected the territory. This was supposed to be the way things were. But once religion went on the defensive against science, it executed what I believe William Bartley called the retreat to commitment. I believe because I believe. And with that defensiveness, they had to protect sort of the central lies, what you've called the results. They had to protect those things. And they developed a whole system of not just false assertions, but also of bad epistemology to defend these
I think
things.
we're going to be. This is a place we're going to agree. I mean, the problem is, but we're going to. I'll get to the disagreement in a moment. But first, the agreement is that essentially the great error is literalism. Is that people take these scriptures, which were written thousands of years ago under a wholly different conditions, and actually believe that every word of it. And also, of course, they're picking and choosing too, right? They're not selling their daughters into slavery or carrying forward all the prescriptions.
Some religions pick and choose less than others.
Right, exactly. But it's the literalism that is the problem. But here's what I will disagree with as a strategy for dealing with this is the idea that we could throw out our heritage, right? Our heritage of which religion is a part and start over again is very much an Enlightenment idea, right? I mean, this was very much what drove many of the thinkers of the Enlightenment.
But why shouldn't we?
The shackles of.
Why not slow off religion? I mean, science has no trouble slowing things off. It's wrong. You say, oops, you move on.
Right. Well, two reasons. Okay, two reasons. One is good luck. Good luck with that, right? Because that's what the Enlightenment tried to do, and it didn't work. And it didn't work for a variety of reasons, one of which is that this ideal of pure reason is a pretty poor substitute for people in their lives, okay? That's what I would argue, and I think that's why, in some sense, you got the Romantics very quickly after the Enlightenment.
And they asked me, can it be done? The war continues. We will bring pure reason to the masses.
And the second reason is that there's a heritage within religion, that is part of what we now, the institutional religions, which I feel there's no way of getting past. And my argument for this is Luke Skywalker, right? I mean, mythologies. And this is one of the reasons I spend a lot of time in the book thinking about mythologies, first starting with Joseph Campbell and his ideas of, the hero with 1,000 faces, the commonality of mythologies across cultures, and then trying to expand away from just his, sort of narrow interpretation of mythology. But the idea that we have this heritage of mythology that we just can't get away from. We can try to, but it carries with us for very deep reasons, most of all because we're embodied. We are embodied consciousness,
so
right?
if
Embodied
it's really,
intelligences.
If it's really that deep, then it will emerge again when it comes time to, entirely out of science, construct our new true stories, because a very important function of a story about how the universe works is to actually be true. Whatever else you get out of it, it's nice if it were true. So, but if there are these ways that humans prefer to tell and interpret their stories, regardless of sort of, as it were, the core facts, and before you decide how you feel about them, then maybe Joseph Campbell will look at the story that I would tell about humanity's emergence in the universe and say humanity is the hero of this story, and humanity is on a quest to take over the universe and be crowned ruler of the galaxies that it has transformed into civilizations. Okay, well, good for Joseph Campbell, but where does religion come into it?
Well, it's not. It's again.
Sorry, John Campbell.
Well, here's the reason why, is that story that you're going to tell has already been told. What happens actually in science, and what I argue in the book, is that, when I write a paper on magnetohydrodynamic Riemann solvers, right, there's not a whole lot of mythology in it. Though it is a narrative. It's a narrative of an attempt to fulfill a task, the difficulties, the triumph.
I think that's because science is doing it wrong and having too little fun, but that's a whole separate topic.
Well, yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. I remember I had a professor one time early on, and I showed him my paper, and he said, "What's that?" And I said, "That's a joke, sir." And he's like, "We don't put jokes in papers." So I learned very, very quickly that, right, we don't have enough fun in science. But, when we get to the largest scale, the largest embodiment of our scientific theorizing, it always becomes a narrative, and very often it is we consciously or unconsciously choose to frame our narratives within the context of the storehouse of mythologies. Marcelo Gleiser, who's a cosmologist at Dartmouth, has talked about this, that really, when you look at, say, cosmology, which is a very mythological kind of science, you see that actually already in mythologies, all the different possibilities have been mapped out. The universe is a cycle, right? The universe started from nothing, out of a void. The universe is emerged from chaos. And so,
I give you 30% odds that whatever the real answer is, it's not on your list at all. But leaving that aside.
Well, no, but I think actually what you're going to find is mythology already has imagined many of those, and we are almost forced to draw on those.